On the morning of November 17, 2025, Beijing awakened to an atmosphere unlike anything the city had experienced in years. Streets leading toward the Chang'an Grand Banquet Hall were blocked by crowds, camera crews, and stunned fans who could hardly believe that the most unexpected wedding in modern sea entertainment history was about to unfold. Dylan Wang and Bai Lu, two stars whose on-screen chemistry had fueled rumors for years, yet never once publicly confirmed anything, were now officially stepping into their wedding venue. And just like that, the entire Asian entertainment industry felt the shockwave ripple across borders, lighting up every trending chart from China to Korea, Vietnam, Thailand, and Japan. No one knew this day would come so suddenly, and yet the moment it arrived, it felt destined. The first surprising detail was the intense secrecy. According to staff members who later whispered to the media, the couple had planned this wedding for months under a hidden codename, using private drivers, encrypted schedules, and NDAs strict enough to rival top-tier political events. Even the venue employees only learned the identities of the bride and groom a few hours before the ceremony began. And when the doors opened, revealing thousands of fresh white roses lining the entrance, the truth became undeniable. 2025 had just produced its biggest wedding, one powerful enough to overshadow even royal ceremonies. Fans outside were trembling with excitement as black vans slowly approached, surrounded by bodyguards and the flicker of press flashes. When Dylan stepped out first, dressed in a classic black tailored suit, shoulders straight, expression calm yet overwhelmed, pandemonium erupted. Nothing, however, compared to the moment Bai Lu appeared behind him. Dressed in a breathtaking custom-made gown embroidered with silver threads that caught the winter sunlight, she looked ethereal, as if stepping out of a fantasy drama. Inside the hall, the atmosphere shifted from chaos to stillness. Around 300 guests, including top directors, industry icons, and the closest friends of the couple, had already taken their seats. Even those who had seen countless celebrity weddings whispered among themselves that this one felt different, sacred, intimate, and somehow incredibly fragile, as if it were a dream that could vanish if anyone breathed too loudly. Dylan was the first to walk toward the altar, but his steps slowed the moment he saw Bai Lu stepping onto the aisle. Witnesses described his reaction as like someone seeing the entire future appear in front of him in one moment. His eyes shimmered, his lips parted in disbelief, and though he tried to maintain composure, emotion betrayed him. One reporter caught the exact second his shoulders trembled, an image that later spread across social media as proof that even the famously confident Dylan Wang could lose control in front of the woman he loved. What happened next was the moment that cemented this wedding into legend. When Bai Lu reached him, he whispered, "I can't believe you're really here. You're the one thing I was always afraid to lose." Though the microphone barely caught the words, enough guests heard to confirm it. Bai Lu placed her hand on his and quietly responded, "I was never going anywhere." For a few seconds, the whole hall went silent. Even the cameras lowered, as though no one dared interrupt the raw, unfiltered emotion shared between them. Then the music began. Soft piano, subtle violin, and the ceremony continued with a quietness that felt almost holy. Their vows quickly became the most replayed moment of the event. Dylan spoke first, voice shaking. He admitted that he never expected to find someone who challenged him, softened him, and understood the chaos of fame without ever letting it consume her. "You made me want to be better," he confessed, "and every day since meeting you, I have been trying." Bai Lu's vow was gentler, but carried an emotional weight that made even directors tear up. She said that life had always been unpredictable, and fame could be both a blessing and a burden. But Dylan was the one constant who made uncertainty feel safe. "Even on days when I doubted myself," she said through trembling breaths, "I never doubted you." The ring exchange was intimate, almost painfully beautiful. Bai Lu's hands shook as Dylan placed the ring on her finger, and when she returned the gesture, he quietly mouthed, thank you. It was a moment so simple yet filled with meaning, the type of detail fans later analyzed frame by frame, convinced that it revealed the depth of their romance more clearly than any public statement ever could. Then, as if the universe had orchestrated it perfectly, sunlight spilled through the tall glass windows right when the officiant announced them husband and wife. The room erupted in applause. Outside, thousands of fans screamed in disbelief as security struggled to keep the perimeter intact. The reception afterward was a glamorous yet heartfelt celebration. Instead of flashy performances or exaggerated luxury displays, the couple chose a theme centered on sincerity. The decorations were soft ivory, warm lights, and floral arrangements that smelled like early spring. Dylan gave a toast that instantly went viral. "I'm not perfect, but I promise every imperfect part of me belongs to her." Bailu followed with her own. "I don't need perfection. I just need the two of us walking the same path." Those lines alone were enough to dominate global trends. Even celebrities overseas reshared clips, calling it the most touching wedding speech of the decade. But one of the biggest surprises of the night came from Dylan's family. His mother, who rarely appears in public, stepped forward to give a short speech. She admitted that she had been worried about her son's hectic career, but meeting Bailu instantly put her fears to rest. "You brought peace into his life," she said warmly. "And for a mother, nothing is more precious." Bailu cried openly at those words, leaning onto Dylan's shoulder as he comforted her. It was the kind of moment that reminded everyone that behind fame, behind streaming numbers and award shows, they were simply two people in love, vulnerable, real, and deeply grateful. By evening, the wedding had officially become a global phenomenon. Hashtags surged past hundreds of millions of views. Fans created digital art, edited videos, and emotional tributes within minutes. International media outlets released headlines calling it the wedding of the decade, the biggest shock in 2025 entertainment, and the love story that defied every rumor. Despite all the noise, however, the couple left the venue in the softest way possible, quietly, hand in hand, stepping into a car that drove them toward their private honeymoon location. No announcements, no interviews, no statements, just a shared smile through the car window as they disappeared into the night. And perhaps that is why this wedding shook all of Asia. Not because it was secretive, grand, or unexpected, but because it reminded millions that even in an industry full of manufactured stories and orchestrated relationships, there are still moments where love speaks louder than fame. On November 17th, 2025, Dylan Wang and Bailu did not just get married. They created a story that will be retold for years, a moment that left fans breathless and reshaped the landscape of celebrity romance forever. The night deepened, but the emotional aftershocks of the wedding only grew stronger. As the couple moved into the private lounge prepared for them, a small documentary team, authorized by both families, captured exclusive footage that would later become the most watched wedding special of the decade. In those behind-the-scenes clips, Dylan was seen gently helping Bailu adjust her gown, making sure each layer of fabric fell perfectly before pulling her into his arms for a quiet embrace. There was no performance, no attempt to look good for the camera. It was pure instinct. At one point, Bailu said, "I still feel like I'm dreaming." And Dylan answered, "Then let's never wake up." That single moment, recorded accidentally by a roaming camera, became the defining image of their love story, intimate, unguarded, and breathtakingly sincere. As the celebration continued, the couple made time to thank every single guest personally. Many were surprised at how emotional Dylan became during these exchanges. When he hugged one of his close friends from his debut era, he said softly, "You saw me before all this, before fame, before pressure. Thank you for being here on the day I finally become who I want to be." Meanwhile, Bailu spent time with her longtime manager, who had watched her entire journey from auditions to stardom. The manager later revealed that Bailu had confided that, "I used to think I had to choose between love and career. But today, I realize the right person never asks you to choose." These private conversations added a deeper layer to the wedding, one that spoke not just of romance, but of growth, healing, and finally reaching a place of peace after years living under the spotlight. Outside the venue, the atmosphere was entirely different, loud, chaotic, and electrifying. Fans who couldn't see the ceremony still refused to leave,